there was one small bombshell that dropped when President Obama rolled out his latest Iraqi battle plan, it was the not-so-subtle hint that Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has to go. It is widely accepted that if there is ever to be any peace in that country, then this dangerous and perhaps corrupt leader has to vanish. But what will that do to the overall effort in Iraq, and how likely is it the Iraqi people will rise to the call? These questions are all being asked as people wonder if there is indeed a third world war, or check that, a third Iraq war that is imminent. Let us please welcome in Eastern Affairs Center political analyst Dr. Sabri joins us right now on MidPoint. Dr. Sabri, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Let's get right to, first of all, what is that drop that we heard from President Obama yesterday. It was that hint that the Prime Minister has to go. Do you think that on the other side of the world that is being taken in, accepted, and there is a faction there that says we must get rid of him now?
Well, unfortunately, our American policy is being somehow reactional and taking it step by step and case by case. Maliki should have gone a long time ago. The president has waited a lot, thinking that Maliki and his government and his alliances would be able to handle the situation. Unfortunately, Maliki is doing it the wrong way, and the states should have told them to go away from before. But yet, practically, it's not that easy that the president would order Maliki and Maliki would just leave the post.
Dr. Samirah, let's go ahead and then look at what will happen next. Let's just say that if indeed Maliki is gone, that for whatever reason he steps down, someone convinces him to step down, or he disappears suddenly. Aren't we looking at another power vacuum here? Because who then takes control of this country that the American government can actually deal with and trust?
Well, I believe there are plenty of people that will replace Maliki effectively. Of course, the first stage will be a temporary one, transitional one, where a coalition government will be built in order to prepare for new elections or a new formation, or the proper way of picking the prime minister, because it is not only the prime minister himself, it is the way that the government is being formed, the elections that is being conducted. Is it representative of the totality of the Iraqi people or not? So I believe, yes, there will be people to replace him. There will be no vacuum. The Maliki is extremely controversial person, and just taking him off the picture will help a lot in Iraq.
Is it your opinion then that those people who may replace him would be more amenable, if you will, to create that coalition government that the United States says has to be formed, that they say must be in place in order for the Iraqi people to basically, in the government, to get their act together and put everybody on a page where at least they are not putting the Sunnis, the Shiites, and they're not separating everybody, but someone who can indeed bring everybody together at the same table?
This is a must if the states will be successful in pushing Iraq toward.
Well, there, in your opinion again, who are those peacemakers who can indeed do it? Because frankly, there are a lot of people who will sit out here and say no one's been able to do it at this point, so why would there be anybody else who suddenly can wave a magic wand to make this happen?
There are plenty of people, as I said. It is the rules and the foundations of everybody feels represented, dealt with appropriately, not being marginalized. Yes, there are plenty of people who are peacemakers. They will sit together, build a coalition government that will work for the betterment of Iraq.
Dr. Samirah, give us an idea, if you will, then, of the people of Iraq themselves, because while we're out here, there's a tremendous amount of, there's a groundswell in America, basically saying they don't want us there, they want us out, they don't want our military there, they don't like America. Now, you'll hear all these things constantly from a lot of people, and they will say, basically, let them fight their own war. They don't want us there. To your opinion and from your experience, is there a faction in Iraq, the people themselves, who want America to help, who would embrace America, and who would say, thank you for the help?
Let's remember what happened. America entered Iraq in order to help Iraqi people get rid of Saddam Hussein and build their own democratic state. Of course, Saddam Hussein has Iraq. Iraqi people at the beginning, they welcomed American help and they welcomed American soldiers. Yet after a few months, things started deteriorating, where they found out that they have no security, no freedom, no democracy. It was like a pie that was being divided among different interest groups, different sects, etc., etc. Especially the Sunni people, they felt so marginalized that the Shi'i people are taking over. They are replacing everything. So the Iraqi people welcoming the American help, yet America did not really do it the proper way in order to convince the Iraqis that America is there to help them. And instead, America was busy working only on the surface, on the governmental arrangements, on selecting the groups and the parties and the sects to be closer to its decision-making process or not. The Iraqi people are scared that nothing will happen appropriately, that the presence of the American policy is not helping. That's why from the beginning they started telling America, don't stay in Iraq, let us solve it by ourselves. Yet, unfortunately, because of the historical, sectarian, and many divisions among the Iraqi people, they are not making it by themselves. So the conclusion, the American policy is badly needed, yet it should be appropriately done in order to convince the Iraqi people that America is there to help them, and it is not after its short-sighted interest group interest that the Iraqi people perceive that America is after, which is oil, the markets, having bases for its military in the region, etc., etc.
All right, now so, you used the phrase in there, proper way and appropriate way. Would you please tell us then, from your opinion, from your knowledge then, you said it wasn't done the appropriate way or needs to be done the appropriate way. In about a minute or so, can you capsulize that and tell us what then is, in your opinion, and I guess you'd then take it to the people of Iraq, what would be that appropriate way for America now to get involved next?
It is the normal basic thing, which is a real democracy, really treated fairly and equally. So some groups and sects were advanced, the others were pushed away, especially the Sunni.
But how does America do this? How does America change that then, in your opinion?
Well, America support, it has the alliances in the region and around the globe. So America has a lot of what's happening in Iraq in terms of choosing who is to lead. America, quote unquote, supported Maliki in spite of all his wrongs, sometimes crimes, sometimes misbehaving. And it took a long time to this point where America to discover that it was wrong in supporting Maliki and his group, not Maliki, and the wrong rules that is ruling Iraq. The proper thing is to convince the Sunni again and all sects that come again to the table, to the round table, make peace within yourselves and build your own government appropriately. Otherwise, those extremist groups, radical groups, will take over and over, and they will find support among the Sunni because the Sunnis are hopeless.
Okay, we only got a couple of minutes here. So then, in your opinion then, who is the proper group and or person that the United States should back that will help to solve this?
It is not by naming a specific person. It is by calling all groups, peaceful groups, good groups, people who care about Iraq, stable Iraq, democratic Iraq, bring them all to the table. And America knows all of them. There are plenty out there to bring them in a process. So what we are focusing on is appropriate process and bringing all parties together toward peaceful democratic solution where every sect, every group, every racial group will be appropriately represented and protected and participating in making the future of Iraq.
Is it not fair to say, though, that there are certain groups there who do not want to sit across the table from other groups, who don't want to be involved, who want a certain amount of power? We're right back into the jockeying again, which I think we're all everybody is trying to figure out a way to stop this. The jockeying between the different groups who want more power, less power, keep someone down. It seems to be impossible. Haven't we tried this before?
Not in the proper way, and none of the Iraqi groups who are peaceful and looking for the good future of Iraq will not come to the table. It is only very few minor groups, the radical groups, who will reject, and those are dialogue or formation of coalition and so on. So the vast majority of Iraqis will sit down and talk to each other, but our American policy should be positive, encouraging them to do so effectively and fairly, where Iraqi people will feel that they are safe and secure, and they will achieve really a real democracy.
15 seconds. Do you trust Iran?
No.
In no way, shape, or form would you get involved with the Iranians, correct?
Well, you could bring Iran to the table, but under big monitoring, because the politics, the reality, you have to deal with ever who is there. Iran has big influence in Iraq.
The politics in there. There we go again. Dr. Sabri Samirah, thank you very much for being with us today, sir. We will do this again. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is still back and forth. Whom do the Americans get behind? Didn't we say this a couple of days ago? Who do you trust, right? Who do you trust? Tell us on social media. We'll talk about it right here on the Newsmax TV network and right here on MidPoint, where every day we question everything.